But the funny thing about human people is you might find it hard for you to change, but often you expect people to change for you.
Yes, yes, that's very, very true. We are aware that we are lacking of something. Because we are aware of that, we want to have that. And then it's always easier for other people to change because we don't want to change. We don't want to change. We want to retain as how we are, and that's why we expect other people to change. And we say that that's your problem, that's your problem, that's the government problem, that's this politician problem, that's the system problem, policy problem, all kinds of problem. But we never pose it back to us. What's our problem actually?
Today, we welcome certified clinical hypnotherapist and mindset transformation coach Fu-En Yee to come in studio. So, hi Fu-En, thank you for visiting us.
Thank you for
so,
the invite.
So, one thing is Fu-En is also the author of Boss Your Wish is Your Command, the book, which is aiming to help ourselves to change and transform into a better version of ourselves, I can say. So when we say change, I think many people have had the experience struggling or still struggling with it. So I think we're going to just jump into the question.
Sure.
So Fu-En, can you share about why is change so hard for most people?
That's a very, very long story actually. Okay, let me start by bringing us back to where humans start to exist. Yeah, when humans exist in the first place, we live in a tribe. Yeah, we live in a tribe whereby, they are something like barbarians, they stay within their tribe, they stay within their territories. So if someone were to get out from the territory, it becomes a very dangerous act. You are exposing yourself to all kinds of threats and risk of being eaten by other animals or being attacked by other tribe members. You then get killed and you can get eaten. Those are very, very real thing for the tribe back in those days. Now, a part of the brain actually keeps all these records of how human actually existed and how do we actually survive until today. So all this experience tells us that if we get out from the territory, we have that kind of risk. We may get ourselves get killed out there. So it becomes very dangerous. So how does this thing relate to us? Whenever we want to do something new, the brain detects that is out of boundary, out of your territory. Then it gives a signal that potential risk is there. Potential danger is there, and that's why you have that fear. When the fear kicks in and you have self-doubts and all the questions and whatever that is lingering in the head, then you wouldn't want to change. It will keep you as at where you are. This is a very automated thinking because it has already been passed down generations and generations based on survival mode. So until today, even though we are at a modern age whereby we can go around the world, anywhere around the world, safely, I would say, most of the time, right? But the mind will still kick in. If you go into a foreign countries, you start having that anxiety. Some of people, they may still have that kind of fear, what if I get lost here and there? So a lot of all these doubts and questions and fears starts to come in. That's why people don't like to change. They want to stay what is comfortable for them, what is within that safe space around them. That's why people find it very, very hard to change.
But the funny thing about human people is you might find it hard for you to change, but often you expect people to change for you.
Yes, that's very, very true. We want something. Everybody has got certain wants and needs. And I always explain in a way that we have 4 levels of consciousness. At the very basic level, we are at the conscious incompetence level, meaning that we do not know what we do not know. And because we do not know what we do not know, we have no awareness, right? It's only when somebody were to tell you, oh, you have this problem, oh, you could become better, or you have this gem, very, very expensive, and that's where you started, oh, there is this thing, oh, you have this problem, oh, I'm giving you this problem. That kind of awareness starts to surface. That's where you raise to the next level. You are at the conscious incompetence, meaning that we are aware that we are lacking of something. Because we are aware of that, we want to have that. And then it's always easier for other people to change because we don't want to change. We don't want to change. We want to retain as how we are, and that's why we expect other people to change. We say that that's your problem, that's your problem, that's the government problem, that's this politician problem, that's the system problem, policy problem, all kinds of problem. But we never post it back to us. What's our problem actually? A lot of times people, we know what is good and what is bad. We know what is day, and that's why we know what is night, right? There's a contrast there, and that's where the one starts to kick in. But then the problem is, it's like how you highlight, people refuse to change, doesn't like to change. And that's why people want other people to change. But the thing is that other people don't like to change as well. It's not that you don't like to change, other people, everyone doesn't like to change.
That's where the conflict begins.
Correct. And that's why if you really, really want change to happen, we always say, I must first change. Right? I must first change. And then other people will start to change as well. And if I don't change, you don't change, nothing's get changed. And then the complaints continue, right? The blame continues. We can get frustration, we can get stressed, we can get depressed over things. Nothing can change. It remains the same, right? It's only until when we say, enough is enough. Enough is enough. And then we decided to change. Maybe we change the way that we communicate. Maybe we change the way we're handling things. Maybe we change the way we think, and then we see things started to change around us. So very, very often change starts with us as an individual.
Yeah, I understand that change starts with us, but I think most of the times from my life experience, I think change also depends on the right timing also. I mean, like the cake, you have to reach to that moment, enough is enough. But because change is a word that is said is easier than done.
Correct.
So I mean, like, we can really say that you just need to take the first step, blah blah blah. But it's just that we have to face the fact that it's hard for people to take that first step. So how are you going to if we are going to talk on this one, so take the first step to change, how do you make it possible?
You put it in a very accurate context, whereby when only is enough, right? Sometimes when we communicate with somebody and we point out, okay, look, this is somewhere that we need to improve on. This is a problem that we need to address. The other side may not agree with us. To them, they don't see it as a problem. It's just like, if we do not like smoking and our best friend loves to smoke, right? Despite how much you tell him or her about the dangers of smoking, the side effect of smoking and all those things, it just doesn't get in. Not until he or she gets into the position or in a state whereby, okay, now he has difficulty in breathing, or he has been diagnosed with certain health complications because of smoking. Then only enough is enough for this person, you see? So there's nothing much that we can do until the person awaken or really what we say as conscious or aware that the change needs to take place, right? And as I said just now earlier, we can suggest on what needs to be done. We can want to help a person, but if the person doesn't want to be helped, the person is in a state whereby is in a denial, right? There's nothing much we can do. We may continue to influence. We may lead by example, showing them how we change, or if we ourselves have been a smoker before, we had quit smoking, it is easier to also influence. Rather than coming from an opposite view perspectives, then it's a little bit challenging for the person to come to an agreement. People tend to resonate when they see similarities, right? You're same with us, same with me, then I resonate with you. So whatever that you change, it's easier for the other side to change. But if the person has got a completely different viewpoint from us, it's just like a fish explain to a bird how great it feels to swim inside the sea. And an eagle trying to explaining to the fish how great it is to feel soaring in the air. They just can't see eye to eye because there's no similarities. It's so completely different world, right? So a similarity has got to be set up, right? Then it's easier to have that conversation. So awareness is one thing. To have that kind of awareness of the gap, awareness of whether the person is aware, even aware of the consequences of certain acts or the existing situation that they are in. Awareness is very important. Normally, people always stress on actions, what to do, what strategies to take, what needs to be done to overcome all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 problems, right? The stress on problems. Even when you look at the training industries, it's all about skill sets, what needs to be done, what skills you need to overcome this kind of problem. But without awareness, whatever skills that you give, advice that you give, it falls on deaf ears, and there's nothing productive out of that conversation. So awareness is important. Then when you have the actions, easier to change. But what is also missing in the whole entire cycle to get change to really happen is to have that accountability partner. Because you see, we are creature of habits. Like we have our comfort zone. We love that. We automatically loves that. So if we want to change, we want to change, but the mind sometimes get us back to where we are because we got so used to it. The habit of picking up that cigarette, the habit of chewing, or the habit of... So when you have accountability partners, that is where they come in and remind us, hey, this is where you say you want to change. This is where you have committed to change because of whatever reasons, right? Then it helps us to put us onto a pedestrian track that we are on our way towards change, right? Because not everything we can do ourselves. We need certain reminders, right? So only when you have these 3 A's, I would say, the awareness, and then you take the actions, and then an accountability partner or an environment or friends that helps you to change, hold you accountable for the change, and then higher chances that you can change. And of course, it all goes back to how willing other person is changing. Like I say, when enough is enough, then the person is willing to change.
Okay, I have one interesting question regarding change. So, if we can change, we change, and then if you cannot change, you adapt. Is it? So, is adapting like 去适应一个东西? Is it bad for change? I mean, like, is it contradict to change or not?
Adapting is getting ourselves used to something. It's like normalizing. Normalizing. It's just like when you go into a new company, say for example, and the culture is not quite to your own personal values. But this is how they work, right? So then the question is, do you want to stay in that company that has a very different cultures and values than you, or you can choose to adapt, right? You have a choice, right? If you felt that this is really not me, you can quit because it's your choice, right? But a lot of people, they see that as no choice. I need to continue to work. And that's where they get themselves into a very miserable state, because in the process of adapting, because it's contradicting to our own values and perspectives, then you become very stressful. You also become very exhausted, you become demotivated, you become depressed in that working environment. So how far can you go in that company? That's first scenario. Second scenario, there are people who actually able to adapt successfully. Suddenly his values change because of the peers' pressure. They start to change, become a totally different person. And that's where the close friends or the family members starts to say, you weren't like this before, how come you have changed? That's where the reality starts to hit in. You start to question, it's like, I wasn't like this before. How can I become like this? And you start to blame yourself, blame ourselves for becoming someone who we do not like in the first place. So then it will fall back to a situation that we no longer like ourselves, and then all this self-pity, self-victim, self-blaming things starts to set in, and then you start to have stress and depression again, right? So I think very, very important is that one must really know one's value and your purpose, your character. The more you know about yourself, you will know what kind of choices you need to make. Is this who you are? Is this the correct decision to make? Is this the right place for me? Is this the right friend for me? You know, And it's not just I have to, because basically there are choices. If you stick to that and you choose to be in that environment that you're not supposed to be, you choose to have the side effects of that situation that you choose.
Now, let's talk about the word comfort zone. I have a feeling that people tend to see comfort zone as a not such a good thing. Is it really that bad to be staying in a comfort zone?
No,
Is
no,
it all bad or
no.
not really?
Not really. It depends on the individual. Like I say, it's a matter of choice. Somebody love to be in their comfort zone, doing just the things that they love because they do not want so much of a headache. They don't want so much of anxiety or so much of growth. But then have to start to reflect back. Is that really what they want? Because sometimes you say you want to stay in that comfort zone, but then when they mix with friends, they say, "Oh, I'm so jealous of you. You get to do this, you travel to a lot of places, it's like living your own dream life, You admire, at the same time, you're also jealous. And then you have a wish, you have that very, very subtle wish inside your heart. How I wish I do that. And then that's where you need to question, is that really the comfort zone that you really love to be in? Because people's mouth, they may say one thing, but inside the heart, they may yearn, want, wish for other things. So I would say that not everybody wants to get out from the comfort zone, but most people do not like so much of a comfort zone as well. It's just like in life, we want to have certain ups and downs. That's what makes life interesting, right? Even in heartbeats, you have ups and downs, right? When it's flat, it's like you are dead, right? There's nothing interesting in your life. There's nothing for you to look forward to. I think when you reach a status where everything is very stable, there's nothing much interesting to look for. You become so bored. You want to venture out. You automatically want to venture out. And what is that? You are actually stepping out from your comfort zone, right? So we don't realize all these things till we actually start to really slow down, reflect back. What is important to us? What is the meaning of life? What is the purpose of life? Is it just doing the same thing over and over again? Is it just working, or is it just earning money for the sake of earning money to provide for the family? Is that all you do? Life is much more than that. It's not just about money. It's about how you live your life to the fullest, how you live a life that is happy, that is meaningful.
So what motivates you to write this book? It's about change, right? It's
Yes,
about
yes,
being
yes.
a better version of you.
There are many reasons why I write this book
Surely
in the first place.
Stories to share with us.
I have my own personal story why I wanted to write this book, because I used to be the person who really strive for success and excellence, where people say that when you reach certain level in an organization, when you reach certain status, or when you own certain material things, or when you earn certain amount of money in your salary or in your bank, that is successful, right? So at a very, very young age, I have already gotten international recognition. I am earning more than I can spend, right? I have wardrobe full of clothes that I rarely get the chance to wear for a second time in the next 365 days, or even sometimes I have new clothes that I didn't get even to wear for the next 365 days, right? That's so much. I have beautiful cars, I have a semi-D, I have a so-called a complete family. A lot of the working adults would actually kill to get what I want.
A part of me also killed.
right? Would want to have that in their life, and I achieved that at a very young age, at 31. Normal people, on average, is about 49, 50. In that particular industry, only they'll be able to attain what I have achieved at that age. So it's a huge gap. 20 years. So people look at me like, wow, really successful, admire, highly admired and highly looked up to. But then it doesn't make sense to me, because I felt so empty, so depressed, and people don't understand why. I thought that because of perhaps work stress, because of relationship stress that has caused me feeling that kind of depression. And people don't understand either. I also don't understand why. People keep telling me that I'm so successful. Why do you feel depressed? And sometimes people don't even notice that I can get depressed. Yeah. So, and because of that, I actually commit suicide. I actually committed suicide once. I failed. People found me, put me into the hospital, and of course there was complications there, because the police will come, question, you're sent to psychiatrists and all those things, and that's where they diagnosed me as having severe depression, suicide attempts, and all those things. You have to take medications and all those things. Then I learned something. I learned that taking sleeping pills, no matter how much you take, wouldn't kill you. I wasn't that smart at all. Too much of dramas. You see the dramas whereby they tell you that you want to kill yourself, just pop in sleeping pills will do. And that's basically what I did. When the mind snaps, it just snaps, right? So you just reach out and then you just want to kill yourself for that. So I got rescued. So the next time when I wanted to plan for my suicide, I make sure that I read how to really kill myself with the sleeping pill. So I found that, okay, you need to add in the alcohol and stuff like that, all right? So doing that is one thing. Second thing, I did not want to be rescued again, right? Enough is enough. I'm so tired. So I plan to get out of Malaysia, so that even if people were to find me, it's too late to rescue.
Wow.
So I actually fly out of Malaysia. I took flight.
You did?
13 hours flight out of Malaysia.
I don't know why I got goosebumps getting back.
It was quite tragic, because at that point of time I felt that life is useless, empty, useless, depressed. So when I reached London, that's where I chose to go. When I reached London, and then...
Was there a particular reason why London?
No, it's just
Randomly
London.
selected.
Very far. Far enough, yeah? Far enough, right? US is just too far. And the cost is a little bit too expensive, because if you go too far, my family members and my loved ones would want to follow along, right? So not too far, yet far enough. So somewhere in Europe. So London is the first place that comes to mind. And I was there, and then I was planning how to execute and all those things. And then I was in the internet. I saw this course talking about uncompromised life. It talks about, if you are depressed, come and learn from my guru. At that time I didn't know about her, Marissa Peer, how to get out of that kind of state and lead a meaningful, uncompromised life. So the brain is hardwired for survival. And that's what we do also. When we have that fear, it's meant to keep us safe, right?
Yeah.
Right. To survive, right? So when I saw that, the mind is like, suddenly I hear the voice, just go there, just attend, maybe there's a slim chance you won't know. Just in case if it doesn't work, then it's not too late to do whatever that I want to do. And then what coincidence was that the course takes place in a hotel which is just next to my hotel that I'm staying. And it's happening it's like a few days after I have checked into the hotel. So I went there. And I went there, and then as the course go along, well, in a foreign country where nobody knows me, no matter what happens there, nobody will know, right?
What happens there stays there.
Whatever happens there stays there, so it's fine. I'll just volunteer, right? There's no ego left already. Unlike if it's local, a lot of people knew me back then. I wouldn't do this kind of things, right? So in London, okay, I went. So there, very, very strangely, I realized that the stress, the depression, the stress actually, I thought the stress caused the depression. Actually, the stress and the depression is a byproduct of a belief that I have held inside me for the longest time. A belief that I don't deserve to be in this world. I'm not loved, I'm not important, I'm not good enough. No matter
Stems
what I
from
do.
there.
It stems from there because I had that since very, very young. I start to realize that whatever that is happening around us, it goes back to that belief that we have back in the subconscious mind, because we don't know what triggered that kind of emotions or what kind of beliefs do we have until we peel the onion and really go deeper and deeper and deeper until we find that particular root cause, right? So, and because of that exercise, and then she got me out from that state of believing that I'm not good enough and all those things, stepped me out from that and got me to see where I've had and how other people see me, that my importance, my presence is important, my role in this universe is important. And from that moment on, I didn't take the depression, the antidepressant and the sleeping pills. It's just off like that.
Wow.
When psychiatrists say that you can't just stop your medication like that because it's of high dosage, you may have a relapse, you may have the side effects of just stopping it like that. So it surprised me that this happened. I wanted to help more people because I know whatever that I experience, a lot more people is experiencing out there. The stress, the anxiety, the depression, the exhaustion, to the point that people just want to give up, but enough is enough, right? So I felt that I wanted other people to know that help is available. All these things, I'm literally living my second life. It's like a reborn, because everything I did from there on is a completely change. It's a complete change of whatever that I had been doing in before this, right? So I gave up my career, which I had worked for 16 years.
Wow.
Yeah, with that reputation and status that I've earned in that industry. I give that up because that didn't resonate with who I am, my values, my true values, my purpose. So I started from zero, ground zero, doing a completely different thing. And I tell people that change can happen, right? This is a testament, walking, breathing, doing human being that has gone through literally huge change my own entire life. And there are a lot of people who have gone through changes in their lives as well. So I write this book because I care and I wanted people to change, creating a life that they can make sense, that they can live purposefully and beautifully, meaningfully. It's not just live in that, the hamster wheel going round and round and round and round, never can stop, never know where's the ending, and all those sort of misery, right? So that's one thing. I want people to get out from there. Second thing, because I want this side of the world to really know and have the knowledge that I have. I felt that the knowledge that I have, based on not just what I've learned from Marisa, but because I came back and I did a lot of research. I've done a lot of interviews with the neuroscientists, world-renowned neuroscientists, how the brain works, why the way we are, why that kind of emotions, why mind, why brain, and all those sort of things. And I felt that this information is not a privilege to me or only those people who studies in neuroscience or in science or in medical alone, right? Because most of us come when we are being born, we don't come with an operation manual to tell us this is how you should think, this is how the brain works, right? So step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. No, there's no such thing. We still have no clue as to how we are, the way we are now, the way we think, the way we behave, the way we feel. We have no clue. So I write this book for the people to really know how the brain works, so that at least they get an idea why the way they feel, why the way they behave in certain way, then why do they get triggered, right? And then how do we actually overcome it? Able to identify the cycles that we are in, and how do we actually cut that track, right, and get out from that. So that's the second thing. I want people to really have that knowledge. And the third thing, very, very important, is that a lot of people misunderstood the term leaders, right? They thought that leader would be someone who is up there and leading people down below. That's leader, right? They underestimated themselves as being a leader themselves, because I don't have people reporting under me. I don't have subordinates report under me. So I'm not a leader. No, you are a leader. Every individual is a leader. When you're able to convince and influence, or just a friend, or just a kid to do something, to listen to your opinion, to agree with what you say, when you're able to influence, you are basically a leader.
Oh, I never seen that way.
Yeah, because you are leading other people to change their mind into something that you want.
Oh,
Every individual is a leader, but we downplay ourselves. We undermine our ability of being a leader. And more importantly is leading our own selves. If we fail to lead our own selves, then we don't see even the possibility of leading others, right? But if, let's say, you are able to lead yourself, guide yourself to the change that you want, creating a life that you want, you are able to lead a lot more other people, because you are leading yourself. You are leading that change. And because you lead that change, others see you, they will follow you. You become a leader to them as well. And that's how one becomes a leader, and then it starts to affect the people around them, and then followed by the community. So I want people to really realize that they are a leader themselves. So these are the three main reasons, basically, why I wrote this book in the first place.
and we also noticed that there's a lot of exercise in this book. So what do you actually wish to achieve with these exercises, with
Okay.
this in the book?
As I said, it's very important to have that awareness deep inside us, to find that belief. Because there are a lot of beliefs that hold us back, non-serving beliefs that didn't help us to succeed in whatever that we do, right? So the book has got a lot of exercises to help us look into the areas of leadership. How do you feel about bosses? How do you feel about money, right? How do we react with criticism? A lot of people can't take criticism or take in the word no. When people say no, is rejection. They can't take it. They can't handle it. So the exercises in there is to help us to look deep into ourselves and find where and what our root causes are. Because when we are able to identify that root causes, then we can come out from the beliefs, because we can challenge that root cause. Is it still applicable now at this stage, right? At a very young age, we may be helpless. We can't do a lot of things ourselves. We need to depend on parents, guardians, friends, teachers, and all the people around us. But now, as an adult, do you still depend on them? No, a lot of things that we do it ourselves. So we can actually change the perspectives. Things that we do not had previously as a child, we have it now, right? So they change a lot of the context. We need to get to the right context. And the book helps us to find that context. And then the last part of the book helps us to rewire new belief systems and the way to actually create the things that we want in our life.
So in a way, it's also very important to have this written down.
It is very important because science proves that when you write, you are actually expressing and committing to it, because it comes from your strength to the book when you write rather than you type. There's no energy, there's no really energy in it, but when you write, it comes with the commitment and expression. So it helps us to express and get things out. So it's very, very different.
Okay, so if you would like to advise the audience to use this book as a tool for them to change, okay, so how are you going to say, what are you going to tell them?
I would say that the book is like 3-in-1. It's 3-in-1 copy. It's very, very easy. First is to have the knowledge, right? No knowledge, you won't know, right? It's just like the few layers of consciousness that I've shared earlier. When you read, that's where you will know, and then you can take actions. So the book is also the action taker, right? And the third part is to also making it becoming real. And there are exercises inside to guide on how to actually create that accountability or that environment that helps you to move forward in a more meaningful way. So it completes the whole cycle. I would say it's a transformation book, one of its kind, that is based on neuroscience. And it's not just based on my journey. There are case studies of my clients that I have put inside to actually illustrate how things work, how the brain works, so that through the case studies you will find, oh, that's why this person behaved like that, or now I understand why I have this reaction, or why do I behave as such. So it helps to gain a lot of understanding, knowledge, and then we can initiate the change that we want.
So actually, how long you took to write this book out?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years, yeah. Before that, before MCO, I wanted to write this book. However, there's no urgency in that. There's no urgency. I just write, put aside, felt that probably not good enough. I still need to do a lot more research. I want it to be really, really backed with neuroscience. It's not just coming from my perspective. I want it to be really backed up by neuroscience, right? So I spent a lot of time doing research and interviews, and that's where I compile a lot of information. That's one thing. Second thing, it was not until when COVID happens and when the lockdown happens, you don't go anywhere and you are at home. And then that's where I start to really, I want to make my time at home more productive. You know, aside from helping others, aside from attending to my family members, what else can I do, right? I wanted to help out a lot more people that I can, you know. So writing book is one. So I get to work, right? Really get on to work, and with the interviews, research that I have done, case studies and everything, I have wrote the first part. But then I think just by the first part is insufficient to get people to change. How do I get them to change? That's why I do the second part, whereby those are the exercises to help people to go deep and get more awareness of themselves. And then those are the reasons why the 3 parts of the book, you know, there are people who have suggested, why not you split into 3 books, you know, make it as a collection, then you can earn more that way. But I said, yeah, it's true, you know. However, my intention of writing these books in the first place is to help people. It's not to get money. I think you can be a testament to this book that each book that I sell is making a loss because the printing cost of this book is pretty high, one thing. Second thing, the editing, the professional editing that comes with the book it costs as well, right? And then, of course, with the distributorship, everything, it just is there, right? So a person who is an author or in a publishing, they would know the cost of this book is definitely not for profit making and all those things. So it goes back to the intention that I really want to help out a lot more people, and that's why I made the call to make this book available at this price.
Thank you so much, Fu-En, for the sharing.
Welcome.
Really,
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me and allowing
thank
me
you
to
for
share.
visiting.